Hi everyone, Vinny, Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for another edition of List Week, where I, list out the highlights of the year as usual. In this video, it's the 10 worst songs of 2020. Given how awful this year was, I think it's only fitting that we continue this tradition, because for sure, there were some awful tracks that dropped this year that are worthy of a nod. So with that, I think you understand what we're going to be getting into here. Let's begin with number 10. Yeah, that's going to be Wolfmother, High on My Own Supply. Now, a lot of the younger viewers in my audience may not even know what the hell a Wolfmother is, and let me put it bluntly by saying they're kind of like a Greta Van Fleet before there was a Greta Van Fleet, but they were nowhere near as successful at being Greta Van Fleet, and now with that setting in, unfortunately, it seems the band has switched gears into more of a electronic direction with this single, like a terrible, trash, tacky, future-based instrumental, so some of the most generic and just like disgustingly cliche lyrics I've ever heard in my life. And if you check out the music video for this thing, it's set to a bunch of weird stock footage that looks like really inspirational and hopeful. I think you could tell that watching it and listening to it, the band was trying to, I don't know, come through with something that would drive people's spirits and lift them up and, I don't know, maybe appeal to a bunch of wine moms that have live, laugh, love signs like hung up in their houses. Honestly, I really have no idea who the hell they thought this song was going to appeal to, especially when you look at it from a performance standpoint as well, because the vocals are easily some of the worst I've heard on any Wolfmother song. Like, they're not even in tune much of the time. As forgettable and as mediocre as Wolfmother has been for the vast majority of their career, I can't say I've heard a track that sounded quite this shoddily put together and, I don't know, insulting in just how weak and unlikable it is. Like, why would you give this to your fans? I know that you're capable of more than this, at the very least. With our number 9 spot, I have to give that to the man, J. Cole, with Snow on the Bluff. The more I think about this track and the situation surrounding it, the more aggravating it is, the more headache-inducing it is. And I am aware the first time around I had anything to say about it, a lot of people weren't happy, but I don't know, I wouldn't be me if I wasn't pissing someone off. So essentially with this track, J. Cole took one of the most non-situations of the past year in hip-hop, basically reacting to a handful of somewhat critical tweets launched by the rapper and singer and songwriter No Name. Instead of reaching out personally or, I don't know, responding in another tweet to settle things or smooth things over or bring things together, J. Cole decides instead to do a song about it, tearing the whole thing open and creating one of the biggest dramas and distractions of the year. And while the instrumental and the rapping are fine, it's really the lyricism and tone of the song overall that is pretty gross. With J. Cole essentially explaining away his woke status and his thoughts on current-day racial injustice with a very thin veil of sexism, and a few other passages that revealed him to be way more insecure than I think anybody could have ever thought. It's just weird because in most cases it seems like J. Cole has a lot to say about a lot, but the moment a woman with a fair criticism approaches, he just folds like that laundry in that one song that he was rapping about. Next, at number 8, we have a fun one. It is Corey Taylor of Slipknot fame and Stone Sour fame too, with CMFT Must Be Stopped, featuring Tech9 and Kid Bookie. And yeah, if you ever wanted to hear some tacky, over-the-top butt rock with some really awful rap singing, generic riffs, and totally unnecessary and wordy verses. I'm sorry, Tech. I'm sorry, Kid. I mean, you guys did your best on it. It's really kind of the overall like build and concept of the song that's really terrible. You really could have plugged any rapper into those spots and it would have, negatively impacted the track because, again, it's so gross. It's so weird. It's so unnecessary. And it's such a disgustingly odd vanity project for Corey. I feel like he's creatively at this spot in his career where I guess he can just stand atop his accomplishments and really just like jerk himself off musically for several minutes and just like try his hand at some rapping and have other rappers on to basically co-sign and legitimize his very awful rapping on this track. But yeah, if you've ever wanted to hear one of the well-known vocalists in rock just basically stick his thumb up his ass and run around in a circle for a little while over some generic hard rock riffs with some gang vocals. Corey motherfucking Taylor! Ah! Yeah, that's what you're subjecting yourself to on this track. Again, one of the tackiest things I've heard in 2020. Number 7, we have Luke GAWNE and company on Death to Mumble Rap. I mean, look, I've talked with Luke, I've interviewed the guy, I appreciate the guy, I see him as talented, but if you guys have been following my content through 2020, you know I goofed on this track pretty hard, and I mean, the track is still what the track is. I mean, not only did this thing fail miserably to, you know, stop mumble rap. I mean, mumble rap is still alive and well, I think. At least more alive and well than this fucking song. But yeah, you can essentially add this track to the long line of cringy songs on the YouTube platform where it's like, lyrical rapper versus mumble rapper. Ooh, I'm calling you out, mumble rap. Fast rap, fast rap, fast rap, lyrical, miracle, spiritual, individual, lyrical, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's some serious lyrical gems throughout this track. I mean, scan it yourself. A lot of odd moments. Again, a lot of cringe. Overall, I would categorize this track as trying to start a fight with someone who doesn't even really know you exist and can't see you and can't hear you and just is nowhere in your vicinity. And believe me, if all of mumble rap converged onto these guys and this track all at once, like in a retaliatory fashion, it would not be pretty. My opinion, my philosophy at this point, life to mumble rap, life. And look, life to Luke GAWNE as well, because overall he seems like a nice guy, seems like an interesting guy. On the response or the sequel to this track, he mostly seems to have smoothed things over with mumble rap, as it were, and he's kind of continuing on with his career doing other things, so, you know, I wish the man luck in the future. Number 6 is You're So Fucking Cool, Tones and I. Yeah, this is easily one of the most annoying and impossible to stand vocals to break into the mainstream over the past year. I am completely mystified as to what is driving the popularity of this track. I mean, look, I've been at this for a long time, and I've seen a lot of people come out of nowhere with a hit who have a bit of an odd vocal or a strange vocal, or maybe aren't the most skilled vocalist in the world, or their approach is a little unorthodox. It's happened. It's happened. And much of the time, you know, I've respected the growth, even if maybe it wasn't for me. But this time, I just do not get it. The gross, twangy, nasally inflections all over this track, plus how insipid the lyrics are and generic the beat is, I just don't get the appeal of this at all. I really don't. And it really doesn't even feel like it's a generational thing either, because I can't really think of anything trendy that occurred this year that quite sounds like this. This is just a really weird anomaly. But at the very least, I guess the fans are enjoying this, and it seems like this project has been pretty consistent past this point, as the subsequent tracks and singles to drop I have been equally unpleased with. But this one is really the motherlode of awful singing, in my opinion, and I fear that going into the future, as long as the vocals remain this bad, will I even be able to get into the music that is coming out of this project? I really have no idea. Our number 5 spot is from a band I was not even aware of until recently, Psychosexual, and I'm actually very happy I have not known about this until recently, because I feel like if this was, you know, scratching at the back of my psyche for much of this year, it would have driven me over the edge, you know, which 2020 has been really trying to do. But yeah, Psychosexual is the group in question. Actually features a dude that used to be in Five Finger Death Punch, so you know that's gonna be good. But Psychosexual is actually way weirder than I think anything connected to that band before has ever been. Yeah, it's like some really terrible industrial rock with generic guitars and very cheap production, annoying vocal effects, and a frontman who dresses essentially as the devil daddy and writes really shit lyrics, including the lyrics on this song that are quite sexual, and yet this song is the last thing that anybody should ever be having sex to. Yeah, the devil daddy's gonna spank you, and the love's gonna be dripping down your chin, and let the sin begin, and all that stuff. It's like listening to a bunch of overly horny old nu metal guys try to start like a GWAR thing, but it's not funny or entertaining at all, and the theatrics are shit, and the riffs don't go hard. And after you listen to this, you'll definitely want to get a shower going, and not in like the cool, you went to the GWAR show and you got blood splattered on you kind of shower. No, very much like a gross, shameful kind of shower. Number 4, Lil Pump, Lil Pimp, Big MAGA STEPPIN. When Lil Pump broke, he came onto the scene with so much fresh, raw, young energy, but ever since then, it's become increasingly clear that this man has no long-term strategy whatsoever, and plus the fact that he came out of this like clout chasing scene has really, I think, negatively impacted his trajectory as well, because when you live by the clout, you die by the clout. Prostrating yourself for Donald Trump and the right wing, for what reasons, I don't know. Is it over like taxes because Lil Pump doesn't understand how tax brackets work? Or is it because, I don't know, he thought that he could get access to the president really easily and get in front of like a big MAGA crowd or something? I mean, are the people in the red hats, are they even streaming his music at this point? I don't know. I'm kind of getting bogged down in the context of all of this. Basically, in order to really put a stake in his dumb decision here, which is further solidified by the fact that he reiterates Donald Trump not knowing his name, because when Donald Trump invited him onto stage, he referred to him as a Lil Pimp. Oh, you're sucking up to someone who doesn't even know your fucking name. Although, you know, I do find it really funny that you could be a mediocre SoundCloud rapper and endorse the president, and miraculously, because he's so desperate for any kind of positive attention from anybody, you know, you just have like almost instant access to him. Really weird time we are living in. But yeah, again, Lil Pump is happy to reiterate this whole Lil Pimp misunderstanding, because for Pump, it's not really about the positive attention, just as long as it's attention, which I can't imagine this track is garnering much, because it's easily one of his shittiest and most thrown together songs ever, totally annoying, lacking any substance, and the infectious and high energy quality of his, in my opinion, his classic shit is just not here. He has fallen off so hard, and I don't know if I'm more entertained at this point by how exciting his stuff sounded when he first came onto the scene, or I don't know how much of a train crash he's turning his whole deal into at this point. Number 3, we have reality and pop star extraordinaire Farrah Abraham with her own version of Jingle Bell Rock, which is not only a really bad auto-tuned vocals over a cheap MIDI instrumental, but the whole thing kicks off with a very long, boring podcast-style intro that is utterly pointless and unnecessary. I don't know exactly what she's trying to get across with all of this. I mean, these are easily things that you could have told us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere, I don't know. While I know that Farrah's lack of musical ability has led her to some really interesting creations earlier on in her career, I think her whole debut record is almost like a proto-hyperpop masterpiece. Yeah, there is that, but I can't say that that lack of ability and know-how has led her to strike gold again on this new single. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. It seems like there's a bit of confusion in the podcast intro of this song where she invites people to, enjoy rocking around the Christmas tree, which, you go on to sing Jingle Bell Rock. You're not singing Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, nor have I ever heard anybody use that phrase outside of the context of talking about the song before. So it seems like she's almost a little confused as to what the title is of the song that she's singing. But either way, what you will listen to on this track in terms of production, mixing, vocal performance, and again, that horrible ass MIDI instrumental is really something to behold. It's really something to behold. It's truly awful. It is just so sour and so gross and so terrible on the ears. It's like drinking cup after cup after cup of spoiled, moldy ass eggnog. At number 2, we have a classic singer-songwriter who goes by the name of Van Morrison with his No More Lockdown track, which is one of a few anti-lockdown, pandemic political control anthems that he's dropped this year. Van Morrison is not the only artist who came through in 2020 and showed himself to be anti-science and pro-ignorance, but I will say Van Morrison, no one has had quite the fall from grace over this process as Van Morrison has. I think many of the people who have come out with these kinds of songs, we sort of knew them to be total fucking morons before they put the song out, but then Van Morrison pops up and says, oh, okay, wow, you're a fucking idiot too, wow. And look, I'm not saying that there isn't nuance to this whole thing or that you can't have opinions that differ from mine. You know, me telling you what I think isn't oppressing you or telling you how you can or can't feel or whatever. But, I think when you are putting out music and statements that doubt the legitimacy of the pandemic and liken the lockdowns and the closure to slavery, you've sort of gone off the deep end at that point. You're like in real dumbass territory right there. That's so far gone, we're not even in the realm of being able to have a discussion because we're not existing on the same plane of reality. Not only that, but vocally, Van Morrison sounds kind of fucking drunk on this track. I don't exactly know why, but he seems to have lost quite a bit of his vocal chops over the years. Instrumental is generic, lazy, gross. The whole song is weakly structured and pointless, and again, it's all coming together just to make one of the stupidest statements I've heard of the year. Basically, all the dumb pandemic skepticism shit I've heard through 2020, but embodied in this track and the other couple of like shitty songs he came out about this stuff this year too. So sadly, one of the most celebrated singer-songwriters out there of all time is brain dead, and this song kind of proves it. Then finally at number 1, it's the number 1 spot. Wow, we kind of went through this list quite efficiently, if I do say so myself. It's Justin Bieber, Yummy, the country remix. You know, if this twangy southern fried version of this totally ass pop single did not exist, the regular version could have easily gone here, but because it does exist and it was technically released as a single, yeah, I'm putting the country remix here. Not only because it is utter trash, but it also illustrates how desperate Justin Bieber was to get this single off the ground this year, not only demanding that people buy it and stream it in social media posts, where it was just basically like, please make the song popular, please. But you could tell here that he was also desperate to hit that same like quirky novelty that Lil Nas X's Old Town Road had when he did a country remix. Yeah, Justin, like, it so obviously was not going to work for you in that way, so why you needed to do a country remix of this completely awful song, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, just the foundational elements of this song, terrible. Vocals, boring. The lyrics, some of the worst of this year. These are truly some of the worst lyrics to come out of the mainstream in 2020. But yeah, essentially take the worst pop song hands down this year and then pack it with a a bunch of BS trying to make it appeal to what you thought was some kind of, I don't know, country trend going on in the mainstream. But again, do it just in the thinnest, cheapest, and most obvious way possible. And yeah, that is the frickin' yummy country remix. I think I am going to have to leave it at that, everyone. That is my top 10 worst songs of 2020. Absolutely cannot stand these tracks. They all make me cringe and just kind of crush my soul a little bit, each one of them. Let me know down in the comments what were the worst songs for you this year, and I will see you in the next one. Transition, have you given these songs a listen? Did you love them? Did you hate them? What would you rate them? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Justin Bieber, Yummy Country Remix, forever.